everybody to the JohnnyDrinks podcast. I'm your co-host, Johnny, here with my father.
This is John.
Today we're going to be doing a little bit of a, not a game.
Yeah, how do you say
Interactive conversation where my dad wants to, why don't you go ahead? Why don't you explain to the audience?
I want to? I thought this was something you wanted to. I was just going to talk open mic night, like kind of talk about things that
Let's have a clear focus. Let's have a clear focus on what we're going to be talking about today, which is going to be.
So let's talk about a few things, maybe 10 specific things that I've never told you.
Okay, so say that to them.
What do you think?
Tell the audience what you're about to do.
All right. What I'm about to do is share with my son 10 things I never told him.
There you go.
And these are not heavy lifting things. These aren't deep, well, maybe one or two. Did I ever tell you that I was before this? All right. Well, let me get started. Here's the first one I want to talk about.
I'm adopted.
So I realized where this page and the JohnnyDrinks was kind of destined. And it began as I was processing some things, right? I said, well, alcohol is part of our life. It's never been a big part of our life, but you started at a very young age.
Drinking liquor?
You started at a very young age, your first taste of liquor. What do you think your first taste of liquor, how old do you think you were?
I mean, to my knowledge, I was 14.
Nice. 14? Yeah. What did you drink? In the house?
I think 8th grade. I think I had like a sip and pretended I was drunk.
Did you really?
Yeah.
All right. So when you were a baby, you constantly cried. You were what we called colicky. You had which we know today now was related to your stomach and some of the inflammation and the things you deal with. You had to deal with in much of your life. And now you have to, you eat clean, you do different things to make sure you maintain and be mindful of that. But when you were young and you first were born, Mom and I tried to figure out what to do with you because you constantly cried. And it was very frustrating as a young parent, not only to have someone else to take care of, but not knowing fully what to do with them, right? So those who have puppies, let alone children, it's kind of the same thing. You get this cute puppy home, it's great, and then all of a sudden it cries. And then it wants to chew things, and it wants to eat, and it wants to piss and shit all over the house, right? You don't know what to do, but you figure it out. So when you were colicky and Mom was changing out the formula, and we thought, well, maybe he's teething. Maybe he's uncomfortable because his stomach. The whimsical Uncle Steve says to me, got to put whiskey on his gums. I'm like, whiskey on his gums? What are you talking about? Whiskey? He's a baby.
Wow. How old was I?
Well, I would say you were months old.
Wow.
I won't say you weren't newborn out of the womb, but you were months old. I mean, going into like 6 months or so. And he's like, yeah, put whiskey on the gums. I'm like, you're out of your mind. You know that?
Did you do it?
I said, it's an infant. He says, I'm telling you. I'm like, all right. So unbeknownst to you and your mom, and maybe Uncle Steve's going to laugh, but maybe it's kind of fitting that that's where we came into the liquor space here.
I was what, a month old and you're already feeding me liquor?
Not a month. I don't.
Did it work?
I felt like, so when we talk about this, we're going to take a little sip here. I want to show you what we used to do. I used to pour you as an infant that big. No, just kidding. So we used to take, and this is not something I would recommend. This is not something that I even know worked. It just made me as a parent feel like I was doing something versus nothing. And as a father, I don't even think, like I said, your mother knew.
So you put bourbon on my lips.
We would take a little bit of bourbon whiskey, touch it here, and rub it on your gums.
And what was my reaction?
The idea and the thought was, you got to remember, bourbons and whiskeys was your first form of, for medicinal purposes, medication, right? Pharmacists created and issued prescriptions for whiskey when Prohibition, it wasn't allowed. That was the only place you could get it. So there are some healing properties, no joke. It's the abuse of the liquor that obviously creates problems, but it's that line of thinking that would help numb and soothe your gums a little bit, right?
Yikes.
So anyway, that's one thing I'll share with you.
Well, you didn't answer did it work or no?
I don't recall if it really worked. It just made me feel like I was doing something. And then at the end, when there was a little left over, this is what Dad did. Cheers. Stop crying, Johnny. And then we go back and keep our fingers crossed that you slept through the night. All right? So
It's really good.
Yeah, so you got Uncle Steve to
So-
thank for that.
10 things you haven't told me. Number 1 is that you fed me liquor when I was a month old.
I fed you liquor. Dabbed a little bit on your gums. Like I said, it's not something I would say anyone else should necessarily just go run out and do. But
Probably not.
okay, that's one thing.
All right.
All right, you want more?
I want 9 more, actually.
Oh my gosh. Well, because we're talking about Uncle Steve a little bit, right? Uncle Steve is the courier of a lot of things, right? He's a person that you grew up with and I trust in. And he is also someone that hopefully the audience one day will get a chance to meet.
Gotta get him on.
Yeah, he needs to be on, and we'll get him on here. But many times through opportunities when there's a message to be delivered and Dad can't really deliver it the way it needs to be, right?
Right.
He's the guy.
Right.
So he is also someone that has coached me up and said, here's how you want to handle the situation. Here's what you want to consider to say. And through that, I would maybe in turn say to him at certain times, moments, you know what, you handle it. So he's like a surrogate.
Yes.
You call him uncle, but he's almost like a surrogate dad.
He's also not even my uncle.
You're right. He's not by blood. He's not
My buddy's not my uncle.
right. But that's another thing that the message that I would try in raising you and your siblings. You need help, and in this example, he's a guy that I would want to say something to you about, but I know you're tired of hearing it from me, and so I would use him as that courier, and he would put his own spin on it.
Well, what is it? What's number 2?
He's number 2 that I've leveraged Uncle Steve as this courier.
Oh, there's no specific point.
No
There's
specific example.
There's information you fed him to then subconsciously engrave into my mind.
Right. So the message,
Interesting tactic.
The message might have been mine, but he's the guy who's delivering.
Interesting. That's smart.
Yeah,
Smart as a dad.
Well, listen, that is a tool and a skill that, again, as you get into the right type of relationships, you should leverage one another, right? You should leverage people you trust and people you love to help you, especially in the case of raising children, because it's never easy. All right, so I have a few other things here that I want to kind of pull from.
Number 3.
Number 3, did you know you were a mistake? No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Oh, God.
No, I'm just kidding.
All right.
Mom and I wanted to have 5 children.
Right.
6 children. At least I wanted to have 5.
Sheesh.
Did you know that?
I think we've talked about it.
We have? Oh,
Yeah.
so maybe that's not one that you didn't know. So I wanted to have more children. Truth is, when Victoria was born, she was an angel.
Yeah.
Took her out to dinner, put her in the carrier, the baby carrier, the car, went out to dinner. She didn't say a word. She went to bed real nice, was very regimented, woke up smiling.
Isn't that ironic?
Piece of cake. Oh. She was a piece of cake. I'm like, we're going to have 5, 6 kids. Along comes John, colicky.
The problem
crying,
child, they called me.
Crying. And I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, this is it. 2 is good.
Really? I was that bad?
Done. You were enough to make us pause and say, okay, hold on. Maybe we're being overzealous trying to have more than 2 kids.
Well, you did give me shaking baby syndrome.
It wasn't shaking. It was, maybe that's where the shaker came. No.
Oh, man. Foreshadowing. He shook me instead of the shaker.
I tell you, you were again a very less than easy child to understand and figure out. Again, you don't know, as I said earlier, you don't know what is going on in an infant's mind or certainly in condition of what they're going through. They can't talk to you. So yeah, you were very difficult. And with that all being said, it was just a process of trying to be patient and figure it all out. But it was close because I said, well, I don't think we can do this again. I don't think we can have another kid after we just saw one extreme over the other, right?
I showed you the reality of kids.
You gave us a good dose, and you put us in a place which, again, is today. I'm so grateful that I have 4 children, and probably could have had a 5th or 6th, but after we had Joseph, we're like, okay, that's definitely enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was I the hardest child growing up?
I believe most definitely, yeah.
Wow. All right.
Most definitely for me.
And look at me now.
Well, again, for me, that was hard because I, number one, didn't have anything to compare it to.
Yeah.
If I compared you to Victoria, again, she was a cakewalk. She was so easy. Put her down. She went to sleep.
Yeah,
Pick her up. She's smiling. I was like, oh. And then there's you, who never went to sleep.
Really?
Never.
Look at me now, how easy I am.
Yeah, well, you are easy. I mean, you're an adult now, though, too.
Right.
So, anyway, you get the idea, right? There's a contrasting difference between children. You can't control what their makeup is and what certain things are going to influence or impact an infant. Mm-hmm. And you could be the same parents, but you're going to contend with different variables and different circumstances. All right. So, do you know? I think as a parent, many times you want to believe your parents are invincible, right?
Correct.
Right? You want to think that they know a lot, they know as much as anyone else, or
right.
They know more than anyone else, and they're invincible. But do you know what some of my fears are?
Go ahead. Lay them on
me. Do you
me.
have any idea?
You're afraid of heights.
That is one.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
It's a big one. You gave that to me.
Are you afraid of heights too?
Hell yeah.
No, maybe I didn't realize. I didn't realize you were afraid of heights. So wait, when we talk about heights,
don't pay attention to that clearly.
Hold on. But when we talk about heights, you're not afraid to fly, are you?
Hell, I mean, that's unfathomable height. You don't even comprehend how high you are.
Right.
But like, if I look down, if I'm on a 5-story building, I look down I get shaky.
Okay. So I guess then we're similar that way because I don't like going up on a ladder.
No.
But I've done it. And I've worked construction where do you know this?
What?
So I'm afraid of heights, but did you know that I worked construction and I actually put roof plywood sheathing on top of a roof of a house and built a house?
You're blue collar, huh?
I was blue collar for a few summers.
Really?
So you're right. I'm afraid of heights, but I still did that. And I got to tell you, once I did it and I put hammer to nail and I helped frame out a house.
Not for
and
you.
I was on the corner of a roof and I looked down, like you said, I'm like, okay, this is good enough. Yeah. I'll finish out my tour and I don't need to do this again.
So that's your 4th one that you're afraid of heights?
Yeah.
I knew that.
Afraid of heights, but still what you didn't know is that I guess despite that fear, because I want to earn and I wanted to make some money as a college student, I went ahead and I was in construction.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what
Who knew?
You just learned. Well, you just learned that. You didn't know I was, to your point, blue collar or however you want to categorize it.
Yeah. Didn't know that.
You didn't know that.
You don't strike me as a blue collar guy.
Yeah. Measure twice, cut once. Where do you think that comes from? Measure twice, cut once. That's what the construction. And those in the construction field understand that.
Yeah.
You don't want to make mistakes.
Understood.
All right. How are we doing so far?
Great. I'm learning. I'm learning so much.
All right. Well, so let's talk about. Mom touched on this last time when she spoke, and when you were, what was the age? You, Rapice, so you guys had that party in our house. Was it 16?
No, like 19.
Oh, 19.
19,
you guys were
20.
19 years old, and you remember the threat and the phone call I made?
Oh yeah. Sure do.
All right. Well, what did I say to you? What did I say?
Let me paint the picture for you guys. All right. So I'm standing on the balcony. So our house like 2 stories, right? So it has like a balcony on, what do you call that? The walkover?
The catwalk.
Upstairs. Yeah, the catwalk. So I can look down and see the living room from upstairs, right? I could see everybody, and I see all the kids that are at the party. At this point, it's getting pretty crazy. More kids are at the door. I can't get anybody out. I already know he's pretty furious. I'm calling, or they called me. They told me to get everybody to leave. They didn't leave. And now I get the third kind of call. It was like, if you don't, there was no more threats. He said, I'm coming home. I'm 2 hours away. And in quotes, I'm going to come home and fuck you up.
Wait, I've said that?
Yeah. And I was like, Dad.
That's mean.
I was like, Dad, come on. He's like, John, I'm going to fuck you up. Get everybody out of my house. And so I said, everyone get the fuck out of my house. And then now I'm seeing, this is actually hilarious because I look down, I see what seemed like 100, it was probably 100 people in my house. Not even my house, his house. And I'm looking at everybody, I'm like, oh shit. I turned to my left, what do I see is more people at the door. And and Eddie is now barricading the door and saying everybody has to leave. There's no more party. He's almost at a fight at the door. I'm like, just get everybody out of my. So that's where I am at this point. And I got the call.
I can't believe I said that. I'm gonna F you up.
Yeah,
I texted.
Don't act like you don't curse on your podcast.
No, I do. But did I text it?
No, you said it.
I must have been angry.
You were angry. You were furious.
All right. So here's the little thing I never told you. I was as.
Oh wait. Pause. The reason he couldn't come home was he was drinking. So he was drunk. Right. He couldn't drive a car. That saved my life that night.
Wow. Hold on. First of all, I was drinking. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't recall being in a condition that I said I couldn't drive.
No, that's what Mom said.
Well, of course your mom's going to say that because Mom drinks 0, and if I have 2, right. I'm obliviated.
All right, well,
okay, so let's know the audience.
Okay.
Anyway, I recall that I did say, I'm coming home.
Yes.
And as soon as I hung up the phone and she knew I was agitated, I actually just said, you know what, I'm not going anywhere. I just needed to put that. It's what I meant, but I'm like, there's no chance I was going to get in the car, ruin our anniversary.
Right. What was your anniversary?
Yeah, thanks a lot for that. Thanks for being such a great sport.
See, the colicky kid is really
our 20-year anniversary, whatever it was.
I'm sorry about that.
Actually, was it 20 years? Because you were 19, you said.
Yeah, something like that.
What a guy.
Hey, listen, I wasn't the only sibling there. Yeah. Diana was there. Dia was there.
Yeah, that's nice though. But you orchestrated.
I think Joe was there.
Yeah, you orchestrated that. And I was definitely going to get in the car, and then when I hung up, and I said, you know, let him stew on the heat. Let him think I'm coming home.
Yeah, I was scared. Yeah. This is when I was still afraid of my dad. So
yeah, you still are. Oh my gosh. All right, so
I think we're at 6 now.
That's a good story.
That's a great story.
Yeah. Well, it gets better, I guess, as we consider other little pieces now that I didn't realize that you're sharing with me. So, all right. One other thing that I'll share with you that you probably didn't know, and maybe you did know this, but maybe. So what did you do in the summertime to earn some extra cash yourself? We talked about what I did as a young guy, framing houses and whatever. But what did you do?
Oh, God. I hurt my back. I caddied.
Right.
Yeah.
And how did you do? You know, you did well. People were generous. You worked hard. They tipped you pretty good, right?
When I got older, yeah.
Okay. And what did you do with the money when they gave it to you? Here, great job. You only lost 10 balls. So thanks a lot. Here's $50.
What did I do with the money? I didn't do much with it. I put it in my bank account.
You put it in your bank account?
Up until when I needed it.
Okay, let's back this up and slow this down. Let's go through the exchange. You just carried someone's bag.
Correct.
18 holes.
Sucked.
They give you 50, 75, 100, whatever.
Yeah.
Where's that money go?
In my wallet.
And then where's your wallet go?
In my car. I know where this is going.
And then where?
He would steal the money from me.
So why would I take the money out of the wallet?
This was to try to teach me a lesson because I left my wallet in my car and he would steal my money, but I wouldn't even notice. So then he would have to be like, oh, check your money this week? I'm like, no, do you have it? He's like, it's right here. Told you. You should put it in your bank account. I'm like, all right, can I have my money back now?
Right. So let's go through that.
Yeah.
Right.
How much did you steal?
So just to be clear, you see this watch? So he would earn, put it in his wallet, put it in his car.
No.
Come home, leave the car in the driveway, leave it unlocked. Sometimes leave it in the console just for anyone to walk by to see. Thinking he's going to go back out and go put it in the bank and thinking you're going to go back out in the car, go back out, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. I would take that 100 or 200, a little bit here or there, and I'd ask him how he did. He would never notice the money was gone, which is whatever. That's a whole other conversation. But I would give it back, right? I always say, here you go. Here's
yeah.
your money back. Well, sometimes I didn't give it back. Sometimes I forgot. So what you didn't know is I don't know how much you contributed towards another caddy, because I probably had the 100 and then I took and I gave it to him. But thank you for that.
Wow. I'm just feeding the economy there.
That's the circle of life.
I guess that's the circle of life.
You earned, I borrowed, we paid it forward to someone else.
Wow.
So you could probably thank Kish. Kish,
yeah, I'm
you're
sure.
welcome.
Kish
Thanks,
has
John.
probably had $1,000 of my money.
Kish is my caddy, so probably somewhere through there it was the.
Did you see his comment?
No.
On the TikTok you did about the golf bag?
No, I didn't see
He
it.
said, bring a short memory because that's the most important part of golf.
That's true, Kish.
Yep. Keep a short memory. Well, I have one follow-up from that story, but we're going to take a quick commercial break and then we'll get back into it.
Okay.
A few moments later.
And we're back.
We're back.
Number 6 was they used to steal money from me.
Well, not steal. It was an unintentional grab and go, because again I would forget to
That's all right.
teach the lesson because I didn't see you or whatever, and then I had to go play golf myself, and I gave it to Kishvi.
That's okay. Full circle. Number 7.
All right. What do you think my favorite music is?
That's a good question. I don't really know what your music type is. I mean, I think you listen to hip hop now. I mean, I know you listened to Queen when you were younger.
Mom did more than me. I wouldn't. I'm not
I honestly, I wouldn't be. I know you listen to like the radio. I don't.
Yeah. So if I said to you,
You like Frank Sinatra?
Right. Okay. So Frank Sinatra is right. I would think you would have said Frank Sinatra, but you know who my favorite band is?
Who?
Charlie Daniels Band.
I would never know that.
That's why I'm telling you.
I don't even know who that is.
Thank you. Clearly, point made.
No, they sing that one song.
The devil went down
yes,
to Georgia.
that's the
He
only
was
one I
looking for
know.
a soul to steal.
Yeah.
But you could play that. We can't really play that because it's like infringement rights with copyrights, I guess, right?
Yeah,
Can't use that.
but we played that one episode. We'll be able to
Yeah.
refer back to that one. Yeah, I don't know any other song from them.
Yeah. So Charlie Daniels Band. I grew up listening to them, enjoying them. Got my chops broke by my friends, especially your Uncle Steve.
Why? Because you didn't like them?
He just thought it was the corniest thing in the world. But he thought it was better to listen to Styx and cry over his girlfriend. So I could, he go have that.
Yeah.
He can have that.
He listened to rock though too. I'm surprised you didn't listen to any rock or.
I listened to it when he listened to it, but I didn't.
What about the '90s? What were we listening to? Some old school hip hop.
Yeah.
LL Cool J.
90s was hip hop, Run DMC. It was also, I loved Journey. But a constant.
Red was the '80s, I thought.
Well, the late 80s, but you got to remember, if you're talking late 80s,
I think it's right.
85, 86, it was Journey, and then you get into the early 90s, it changed a little bit, but I always went back to.
When did Run DC form?
I got to think early 80s. I got to think, because I remember when I was a freshman in
82 they formed.
82, when I was
Yeah.
a freshman in high school.
Yeah.
And we used to break dance, get the cardboard
No,
out.
you like the Beastie Boys too.
Like the Beastie Boys. Yeah, that was in college. That was late. That was later, probably late 80s. Yeah,
Yeah, they're
that was
great.
late 80s. Yeah, that was good stuff. But my favorite band was Charlie Daniels Band. Yeah, and
So
I'm
interesting.
going to tell you why. There was a story. Unlike other music, something about country western that always tells a story, and you can hear it a little differently than some of the other rap versions. And there's words that are used that have a different meaning than the word that you hear.
You like a nice storytell.
Well, I do. I like a nice story,
Who
but I
else
like
did you
it
listen to?
musically played out. So that's another one for you. You didn't know that.
What does Journey sing?
Don't Stop Believing.
Oh yeah. Don't
Steve
stop.
Perry's. He was great.
Yeah, that's the only song I know from them.
Epic. That guy. I wish I had the chance to watch them live. That would be a concert I would love to have seen live
Can't know.
back in the day. Yeah. So
All right, your music choice. Did not know that.
so that's the music choice. All right. Here's a good one. Here's one of my favorites.
Okay.
So when you were, this is so funny. I think it's great. So when you guys were young children and you could read and you can write, and it was school nights, and it was kind of in between the time, and I'm not sure the age, but it was an age where you could tell time, but you couldn't put time in perspective. Like you didn't correlate time as it related to a show that was on.
Right.
Right. You know, you may have had football practice as a third, fourth, fifth grader, and you knew you just had to go to football, but you didn't really know what time it was. Right. After school, what we eat. Okay. You go into your routine. And then after practice, you shower, you eat, and there was always a bedtime. And bedtime for us couldn't come fast enough for parents of 4. Could not get you guys into bed fast enough. So you knew, oh, I go to bed at 9 or 10 because all the kids in the school would say, oh, what time do you go to bed? So you had this time in your head. And I think it was about 9 o'clock that was shutdown time for you guys. And so what I would do is I'd take every clock that you could see. And you got to remember,
Wow.
there's no watches that anybody wore.
Sneaky games you played.
There's no phones that you're going to look at. There was no, even time on television didn't pop up as easily as it does now. I would set the clocks back. I'd give us a good half hour. I'd give us a good half hour runway so that if it was 9 o'clock that you thought you were going to bed, it would be 8:30.
Really?
1,000%.
How often did you do this?
1,000%. As often as I could.
That's
and I would
sneaky.
leave the clocks, well, John, I would leave the clocks and mom would be like, you can't leave the clocks because then I don't know what time it is. So every once in a while, I would, like the kitchen clock.
How did you know what time it was?
The kitchen clock on the stove. I had my watch. I definitely wore a watch.
Wow. That's crazy.
But the kitchen, so the best part was the microwave in the kitchen was really the only one that I didn't mess with.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't going to go pre-program that or the stove. So I would try to keep you guys kind of positioned away, and the clock in the living room would be a digital clock or a clock upstairs in our room.
Right.
And yeah, I would play around with the clock.
I've never heard anybody do that. That's a nice pro tip. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of parents out there that are doing that now to their kids.
No,
It's going to be harder to do nowadays, but that's a good one.
Those with young children,
They get it.
they understand it.
Yeah, they just know.
And you're probably better off getting to bed early anyway, get some sleep and rest, because getting your kids up in the morning is never easy either.
I'm sure. No, did not know that one. That was a good one.
Okay. Let's see. I think one of the last ones that I want to share with you, we talked about, there's two other ones. All right. So many times you would get used to, and everyone does this, right? Everyone gets used to certain things that they wear, right? And unfortunately, you may put the same shorts on, same T-shirt on 2, 3, 4 times a week and not even realize it.
Yeah.
Maybe you wear it, you throw it on the floor, you put it back on again, it goes in the wash, comes out of the wash, you put it back on again because it's easy,
Right.
right? Because it's on top of the pile or whatever. There would be items of clothing that we were tired of watching you wear. Either they ripped or they smelled or they was just, okay, enough with that T-shirt.
Throw them out.
We throw them out.
Mom has been doing that to me since I was in the house at 25 and she was doing that to me. So that's not a secret.
Okay, so
Mom would go into this. Mom would go to my closet
right
right now and she'd do it.
You know your mom did that, but I don't think you knew that I did it too.
There's
along
probably
the way.
plenty of shirts and sweats that I'm still looking for that you guys probably threw out.
You'll never find them.
Trash.
Yeah, because at some point, like enough already. There's brand new T-shirts. There's there's the evolution of your clothing and the wardrobe. You can wear what you want. You could.
Well, clearly not.
No, you could. You could wear what you want. A T-shirt. You might have a favorite T-shirt that I wouldn't kind of get in the way of that. But the same ripped, smelly dirt. No, we don't need to keep that around. We got to retire it. At some point, socks got to get retired.
I guess
Underwear gets retired.
You're the parent.
T-shirts get retired.
I'm a big believer in if you're living under the parent's roof, there's a lot of things that they can get away with.
You can.
You're not paying rent.
You won't even know
You're
what
sitting
time.
there
You
for
don't
free.
even know what time it is.
Nope. You don't know what time it is. You don't know where your clothes went. Doesn't matter though, because you're the kid.
Clothes come and go.
You're the guest in that house.
Thank you for acknowledging that and take the garbage out. Any chance you can.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
I do that. Did that.
You do it?
I did.
I guess you did it when I would stick the garbage can right in front of the garage door. So the only way to go out was to run into it.
Yeah. That's probably more effort than you just doing it.
That's true.
Yeah.
That was. It was probably easier if I just did it myself. But we're trying to raise children here. Take children, turn them into grown-ups, in this case, make them a man.
Yeah, how'd that work?
All right. So one of the last things, and this is just, I think, a very, for me anyway, a very poignant reflection, interesting. I was certain of my career out of college. I was certain what I was going to do, specific, and was very eager to see it come to fruition. Do you know what it was?
Baseball coach?
Yes. Oh, you do know this.
Come on, that's an easy one. That's your last one?
What do you mean that's an easy one? How's that an easy one? Do you realize that? But do you realize what the pivot was and why I didn't become a baseball coach?
I'm assuming money.
Okay, so let's talk about it. So here, maybe then this is something you don't know. So you're spot on. In college, playing baseball, believing that the only thing I really knew well, confidently, as confident as I was, interestingly enough, because I was safe, comfortable, confident, what I really felt the best value I had to offer was to stay in the sport that I knew real well, right? Coach baseball.
Right.
I was offered a position at my college to be an assistant baseball coach. Never coached before, finished as a senior. They wanted me to stick around and coach, be an assistant coach, which then in turn would have positioned me to be the head coach.
Wow.
Because my coach was retiring. He was done. And so anyway, thought about that, found real comfort and ease of transition into it, was going to make little money, but it didn't matter. And I was dating your mother. I might have even been, I was dating your mom. Came to talk to her about what I was going to do, right? I graduated and mom was there. She hears, we're talking about this. And she's like, you're going to be a baseball coach? I'm like, yeah. Why? She's like, you're not going to make any money. I'm like, well, no, I can make $20,000. If you're the head coach, you can make $20,000. She goes, where are you going to live? I'm like,
How old were you at this point?
I graduated college, so I was 23.
Wow.
Right? 19, yeah, I was 23 years old. And I was getting married. So I was 89 and I was getting married in 90. And we're talking, this is okay. It's a good conversation to have. And so what you don't know is if it wasn't for this conversation I had with mama that truly put it in perspective, she goes, well, where are you going to live? I'm like, I don't know. I didn't think about that.
Wait, my mom or mama?
Mama.
Oh.
Not my mom. Not your mom. Not my mother.
My
Mama.
grandma.
Right. Your mom was always supportive, right? My wife, your mom, was always supportive and trusted in that, she was going to be a teacher. I was going to be a baseball coach. Conversation with mama pivoted me as a young person to realize, I'm not sure where we're going to live, how we're going to afford some of the things that we like, that we've gotten used to. And one thing that she said, aside from the economics of things, was she said to me, you can do better. I'm like, okay, thank you. What do you mean? Well, you can do better, John. You're going to have opportunities to do something differently and do better than that. And part of me was crushed because I wanted to coach baseball. I wanted to be around. It was easy. And the other part of me was motivated because she was someone, and still is, she's still alive, and she was supportive of me differently than anyone else at that time.
She saw your potential.
She saw potential. And because of that, I said no thank you to the baseball opportunity. I found an opportunity with Chuck Spina and Colgate Palmolive, who, to my many conversations with young people who are listening, alignment matters. Surround yourself with the right people. I got offered a job by making a phone call. And I had to go through a process and I had to pass interviews and go through those steps. But I was offered the job because of someone's recommendation who believed in again, yet again, someone believing in me. And so I share that with you because, again, it's something you didn't know. And truly, if I had not taken that road, I probably would have been a baseball coach. And you know what? Had a great life, enjoying myself. But I think we would have had a different type of family experience given the economics of that. And so I'll leave that with you to consider.
I wonder where you'd be.
If I stayed in that sport, I'm pretty sure I would have been a college coach. I would have had summer camps. Your life would have been different. You would have been a baseball rugrat because you would have been in and around everything. But that's my point. Your entire life would be different because you would have to come with me, right? You'd be with me. Carry the bag, carry the balls.
Yeah, I would have
take some grounders. So
I used to love baseball.
Yeah. So how about that? Interesting, right?
Could have been pro right now.
I don't know about pro. There's no way you.
AAA.
Probably just really good at T-ball.
All right. Fair enough.
Probably definitely really ready for T-ball.
I would have played in high school.
That would have been great. Yeah. We should do a vlog on that.
We should. Because you still don't think I can hit a baseball?
We should reenact your thoughts.
I can hit a ball. I can hit a ball up to 60 miles an hour right now. Anything over 60, I think, is a little bit too fast.
Okay. Sure. We may have to do that. Maybe when we go out to, we're going to do something with the Mets or the Yankees.
Yeah, Mets, yeah.
All right. Let's see if we can do a little BP out there.
That's what I said. A little challenge. I can also run a mile under 7 minutes. That's for sure.
Okay. You have to get, if anyone's listening from the New York Mets, you have to allow me to challenge this kid on a baseball field.
I told him that.
To see if he could hit. I'm not even talking about hit. Just hit in general. Throw, catch. I'll hit fungos to him. We'll see if he catches them.
I for sure could.
Please, I will pay you.
You don't think I could scoop a grounder?
I will pay the Yankees or the Mets to allow me to showcase this. We did this one other time
when I was 14
at Lafayette baseball field.
And I still caught him. Let's go. I'll go right now.
This is where I need Cousin Vin and Cousin Eddie.
No, because they like to exaggerate from the other
Vin.
end. No, fuck them. They're not coming in this conversation.
I think they remember it like I do.
No.
All right. So, well, there you have it. Those are 10 little nuggets of things.
That was good. That was fun. Yeah. The most surprising was the conversation with Mama. I did not know that. I also didn't know you turn the clocks back. That's a really good tip for any young parents. And I really did believe you were going to come home and beat my ass when I had that little party. So the fact that you didn't, if I only knew.
I'm glad I did.
If I only knew.
I probably would have calmed down on the hour and a half ride.
But then you would have picked it right back up when you got there.
No, because by then everyone would have been gone and I would have talked myself in and out of doing this to you or with the recourse. No one wants to, listen, there's not a person, I believe, a normal, reasonable, rational person that would think through. You have to be reasonable and rational, right? But if you can go 0 to 60, you can think the worst of the worst, but then you're going to put yourself, well, what's on the other side of the hill after I go 60? Does it fall off the cliff and I die? Oh, then don't go 60 over that hill. But that's what you would do, certainly as a parent, to say, well, what happens if I do that? What does that do to me? How does that make me feel? How does it make him feel? How does it make the family? So that's probably one of the other additional good takeaways in any situation that you find yourself in where you want to overreact and react violently or viciously or swiftly. Pump the brakes. Think about what happens after that action. You might change your mind on how you handle something.
That's a good way to end this one.
All right.
That's it for today, guys.
That's it. Thanks
Cheers.
for listening.
Like, subscribe, share with a friend. Enjoy your day.